It's no secret that some celebrities sleep around, but a few of them were really good at keeping secrets. From a president's alleged affair with a 19-year-old to a Joker's rumored romance with an Olsen twin, these stars tried hard to keep their secret lovers under wraps. Best known for his highly influential portrayal of serial killer Norman Bates in Psycho, Anthony Perkins led a tragic life. For almost 20 years, he was married to actress Barry Berenson, who would go on to die in the September 11th attacks as a passenger on a hijacked plane. Perkins himself met a devastating end, dying of AIDS almost a decade earlier at the age of 60. Following his death, it was revealed that he was gay, something that he was never able to divulge during his lifetime due to rampant homophobia. One of his partners explained to Entertainment Weekly, "This was the 50s. A public person could not go public even if he wanted to." In the years following Perkins' death, fellow actor Tab Hunter revealed that the pair were lovers. As recounted in Attitude, Hunter became smitten with Perkins after meeting him at Chateau Marmont. Hunter explained to the outlet, "It was difficult. We couldn't just go out for dinner together or go see a movie because we were both getting so popular back then." When Paramount found out that Hunter was dating Perkins, the studio urged him to call it off. Defiant, Hunter continued to see his love, but when Perkins took on a movie role initially pitched by his boyfriend, the pair went their separate ways. Farrah Fawcett was synonymous with the name Ryan O'Neal, her on-again, off-again partner of 30 years. But following Fawcett's untimely death in 2009, another man came forward to allege that he had been long-term lovers with the Charlie's Angels star. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Greg Lott claimed that he was Fawcett's boyfriend, having first met her when they were studying at the University of Texas. They apparently reunited in 1998 and remained in a relationship until her death. He told the Daily Mail, "We were blind, crazy in love. Farrah was my best friend. We fell in love with each other all those years ago, and we never really stopped loving each other." Moreover, Lott accused his love rival of conducting a showmance with Fawcett, whereas he was supposedly the true love of her life.
He's not the love of her life. I'm the love of her life.
He also alleged that O'Neal prevented him from seeing Fawcett when he arrived at her home shortly before she died. Lott told the Daily Mail, "I never got to say goodbye to Farrah. Ryan shut me out of her life." Although O'Neal disputed Lott's claims, his son Griffin praised Lott for giving Fawcett the love she deserved. Subsequently, in 2013, Lott and O'Neal became embroiled in a bitter legal dispute, at the heart of which was a $30 million Andy Warhol painting of Fawcett. O'Neal contested his partner's trust, which left the painting to the University of Texas. Meanwhile, Lott sought to honor the trust, accusing O'Neal of wanting to keep the painting to himself. Just 2 months before his untimely death, Heath Ledger was linked to Australian model Gemma Ward. However, Ledger hid another lover from the public for reasons that remain a mystery to this day. When the Dark Knight star died in 2008 at just 28, it was revealed that he had been casual lovers with Mary-Kate Olsen. An insider told People, Mary-Kate and Heath were casually dating for 3 months before Heath's death. They were hooking up, but neither were particularly interested in making it exclusive. Sources also noted that the pair shared an interest in partying. Were it not for the suspicious circumstances surrounding the Aussie actor's demise, his relationship with Olsen may very well have never been made public knowledge. When he was found unconscious in his New York apartment, Ledger's masseuse decided to call Olsen, who was on speed dial, rather than 911. Olsen, who was in Los Angeles at the time, advised the masseuse that she would get some security contacts she had in New York to come to the apartment. Sometime later, 911 was called, though Ledger had sadly already died. The feud between Joan Rivers and Johnny Carson was much documented during the comedians' respective lifetimes. As with so many high-profile comedians, Rivers got her big break on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson.
And he said, God bless him, you're going to be a star. It changed my life.
But when Rivers decided to leave the show after 18 years, having secured her own late-night talk show, her feud with Carson began. She revealed to The Hollywood Reporter, "The first person I called was Johnny, and he hung up on me and never ever spoke to me again, and then denied that I called him. I couldn't figure it out. I would see him in a restaurant and go over and say hello. He wouldn't talk to me." Rivers rationalized that as a woman, Carson likely saw her as his property and took her departure from his show personally. After Carson died, Rivers would go on to divulge the alleged true nature of the pair's relationship, which may help to shed some light on Carson's animosity. According to Vanity Fair, Rivers claimed that she and Carson were once lovers, with the comedian dubbing their tryst a one-night bounce. She also told TMZ reporters that she got the Tonight Show job by sleeping with the host. Although her claims have not been verified and Rivers' pals have expressed skepticism over the alleged tryst, Vanity Fair highlights that Carson was known to be unfaithful to his wife and allegedly engaged in extramarital affairs. The superhunk of the golden age of Hollywood, Gregory Peck was as talented as he was handsome. He also supported numerous progressive causes, most notably civil rights. Therefore, he certainly didn't seem the type to kiss and tell, particularly in the wake of a lover's death. But when his spellbound co-star Ingrid Bergman died in 1982, it didn't take long for Peck to spill the tea. Subsequently, in 1987, he revealed to People that they had been lovers. He told the outlet, "All I can say is I had a real love for her, and I think that's where I ought to stop. Except to say she was like a lovely Swedish rose. I was young, she was young, we were involved for weeks in close and intense work." When the pair met on the set of Spellbound in 1945, Peck was married to his first wife, Greta, whom he didn't divorce until a decade later. As noted in the book Gregory Peck, the actor found himself falling in love with Bergman, something which he felt he had no control over, the actor told People. "I don't think there's any way to avoid it, for she was incredibly beautiful and a very sweet person." Paul Newman and his wife of 50 years, Joanne Woodward, have long been touted as a Hollywood fairy tale, a rare example of monogamy in an industry notorious for flings and affairs.
If you can make somebody laugh, then that's very important.
Keep her laughing.
And he sure does keep me laughing.
But for all his attempts to portray himself as a one-woman man, Newman allegedly had a wandering eye. In 2009, a year after Newman's death, Sean Levy released his book Paul Newman: A Life, which revealed that the actor had a secret lover, the journalist Nancy Bacon. Newman took the alleged relationship to the grave, always denying Bacon's recollections of the affair during his lifetime. However, Bacon claimed that the pair's relationship was the worst-kept secret in Hollywood, according to Levy's book. Newman and Bacon first met when she interviewed him in 1968, and they swiftly began an affair which lasted over a year. Eventually, Bacon grew tired of Newman's alcohol misuse, and the pair's relationship fizzled out, with Newman returning to his wife and children. According to the 2022 documentary The Last Movie Stars, the revelations were devastating for Newman's children.
There's a terrible moment there where you realize that your dad is fallible.
As the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry was a pioneer of small-screen sci-fi. But as with so many powerful men in the entertainment industry, he allegedly took advantage of young women who starred in his show. In 1994, 3 years after Roddenberry died, Star Trek star Nichelle Nichols, who played the iconic Uhura, penned her memoir Beyond Uhura. In it, she details her affair with the late series creator, who was married at the time. But in addition to cheating on his wife with Nichols, Roddenberry was also cheating on his lover with fellow Star Trek star Majel Barrett, whom he would go on to marry in 1969. Nichols wrote in her memoir, "He had a voracious appetite." Accordingly, Roddenberry's problematic behavior has led to accusations that he was a misogynist who hid behind a veneer of progressiveness. According to the book The 50-Year Mission, Andy Richardson, who was an assistant for original Star Trek writer and showrunner Gene L. Kuhn, had this to say about Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry was a sexist, manipulative person who disregarded women. He would have women walking from the fitting rooms to his office in the skimpiest outfits so he could perv them. Although these sordid revelations about Roddenberry's private life have led to intense criticism, Nichols still looks back on the pair's relationship with affection. She later told Cherry Los Angeles, "The man was incredible." Hollywood, in its current incarnation, may be perceived as woke, but the industry's recent efforts to advance diversity mask a cruel and racist history. For decades in show business, mixed-race relationships between celebrities were heavily discouraged by studio bosses. This was in large part due to the fact that the Hays Code included miscegenation clauses forbidding the depiction of relationships between black and white people. In 1957, Kim Novak fell in love with Sammy Davis Jr. after being introduced to him by Tony Curtis, according to Vanity Fair. In 1999, 9 years after Davis Jr.'s death, Curtis revealed to the magazine, "I could see right from the beginning that they were getting along in an intense way, and that was the beginning of the relationship." But the lovers were faced with intense bigotry. Davis's friend Arthur Silber told Smithsonian Magazine, "It was like we were in the FBI or something. I would drop him off in front of her house in Beverly Hills, and we would set up a time or a day for me to pick him up." Subsequently, Novak was forced to deny that she was in a relationship with Davis during his lifetime, with racist studio bosses threatening to end both of their careers. According to Vanity Fair, Novak later recalled, "It was a very dangerous relationship then, a white woman and a black man. My agent told me my career would be over if I continued to see Sammy." Famed for his roles in critically acclaimed films such as Women in Love and Whistle Down the Wind, British thespian Alan Bates enjoyed an illustrious career on both stage and screen. However, his career was cut short when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in February 2003. Bates, who was bisexual, had a number of secret lovers throughout his life, including the figure skater John Curry and Chariots of Fire star Ian Charleson, according to The Telegraph. In the final year of his life, he was in a relationship with actor Joanna Pettit, according to the Evening Standard. As with many of his lovers, Bates chose to keep the pair's relationship a secret. The romantic nature of the relationship was only made public following Bates' death when he bequeathed Pettit £95,000, or around $117,000. Pettit told the Evening Standard, "It was a very touching gesture because he had done everything while he was in hospital to make sure I would be looked after following his death." As Bates was dying, he was nursed by Pettit, who was distraught that the pair's rekindled romance had been blighted by illness. She recalled to the Evening Standard, "It was horrible. We had all these plans and I could just see it crumble away. But he was so brave. We never talked about him dying." The actor's son Ben also praised Pettit for giving his father some much-needed solace during his final days. Bates died just 10 months after his diagnosis at the age of 69. The Bee Gees were famed for being a wholesome group with their trademark falsetto harmonies and imprint on the cultural landscape, with Saturday Night Fever becoming the soundtrack to the 70s disco era. Despite having a clean-cut rep during his lifetime, Gibb harbored a secret. He had cheated on his wife, Dwina. In 2013, a year after Gibb sadly succumbed to cancer, it was revealed that he had both a secret lover and love child, according to the Daily Mail. Gibb's lover was his housekeeper, Claire Yang, to whom he had bequeathed a significant amount of money in his will, including a house worth £800,000. The couple's daughter, Snow, was born in 2008. However, Gibb's son, Robin John, expressed doubt over Snow's paternity and the veracity of the affair claims. Robin John wrote on Facebook, "There is no evidence behind this housekeeper rumor that got out of hand. She never slept with my father. He didn't sleep around." In an interview with the Daily Mail, Dwina acknowledged that her husband did have an affair with Yang. Dwina told the outlet, "The strength of our relationship was that we were dedicated to each other, and no matter what happened in our lives, we knew we'd always be together, no matter what happened and no matter who would try to interfere." However, she did try to ban Yang from attending her husband's funeral, apparently telling her that she was not welcome, according to the Mirror. Following his tragic death at the age of 40, Paul Walker has been revered by his legion of fans. But the star hid a secret just outside the public eye. At the time of Walker's death in 2013, his girlfriend was 23-year-old Jasmine Pilchard Gosnell, with whom he had been living. But the couple had met 7 years earlier when Walker was 33 and Pilchard Gosnell was just 16, according to In Touch Weekly. Walker kept the relationship a secret, most likely due to the potential backlash he would have faced for dating a young girl. Her father, Casey, who is just 7 years older than Walker, told the Daily Mail, "You have to understand that she is still terribly wounded by Paul's death and will be for a long time." Accordingly, the secret romance has called the Fast and Furious star's reputation into question. For instance, the age of consent in California is 18, so Pilchard Gosnell was legally a child when she met her famous boyfriend. Carmag Jalopnik criticized the mainstream media for glossing over Walker's apparent penchant for teenage girls, as he had allegedly dated another teen, Aubriana Atwell, when she too was underage. As the outlet highlights, the 2018 documentary I Am Paul Walker features endless heartfelt eulogies to the late star, yet there is no mention of Pilchard Gosnell whatsoever, despite her being the actor's long-term partner at the time of his death. Although some of John F. Kennedy's alleged affairs were made public during his lifetime, the most notable being his apparent dalliance with Marilyn Monroe, he also had secret lovers. But it wasn't until 2003 that details about his alleged rendezvous with a teenage White House intern were made public via the Kennedy biography An Unfinished Life. Kennedy's lover was named as Mimi Alford, who began interning at the White House when she was just 19. In 2012, she penned a book, Once Upon a Secret, which details how she allegedly lost her virginity to the president. Alford told People, "I think he did take advantage. I was so young, but I liked feeling special." She also divulged that the president had a darker side, apparently urging Alford to have sex with his associates and his brother Teddy. In an interview with Channel 4 News, Alford revealed that she never wanted the affair to be made public, but only started discussing it when falsehoods were being spun about her. She told Channel 4 News,
"It's taken so long because I lived with a secret for 45 years, and I kept it a secret."
She also added, "And in 2003, when I was publicly outed, shortly after that I realized that I needed to take control of the story." She highlighted that as a teenage girl being seduced by a man in his 40s, she did not initiate the affair nor have any control over it. Possibly one of the most surprising romantic pairings, influential funny man Richard Pryor and Hollywood rabble-rouser Marlon Brando were allegedly lovers. Rumors of a dalliance between the two were instigated by Quincy Jones in 2018, over a decade after both men had died. In an interview with Vulture, Jones spilled the tea on Brando's alleged sexcapades, insinuating that it would be easier to list whom the Oscar winner hadn't slept with. Jones told the outlet, "Marlon Brando was the most charming person you ever met. He'd had sex with anything. He'd f*** a mailbox, James Baldwin, Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye." These claims were corroborated by Pryor's widow, Jennifer, who told TMZ that her husband was proudly bisexual. It was the 70s. If you did enough cocaine, you'd f*** a radiator and send it flowers in the morning. It should be noted that same-sex love was still considered taboo in the 1970s, particularly with mixed-race couples, which helps to explain why Pryor and Brando kept their reported rendezvous a secret. Indeed, the American Psychiatric Association regarded same-sex relationships as symptomatic of mental illness up to 1973. Eyebrow-raising as the alleged affair may seem, the two men weren't all that incompatible. For instance, Brando was renowned for his support for civil rights, famously attending the March on Washington in 1963. Meanwhile, Pryor was a staunch and outspoken critic of racism in the United States.